You know, when you look at a traditional recipe, the ingredients usually make logical sense together, like flour, sugar, butter. But look at Easter. It's like a recipe that accidentally mashed up three entirely different cookbooks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You've got, a profound theological event, lunar astronomy, and a giant chocolate rabbit just all sitting on the same plate.
Right. It really shouldn't work. But today we're doing a deep dive into a historical report on exactly how Easter pulled it off. And your mission as a listener today is to explore how this holiday became history's most successful example of cultural syncretism.
Which basically means it's a massive cultural mashup, blending Jewish theology, Germanic language, and these pre-Christian folk traditions.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand the mashup, we really have to look at the name first, which reveals this big geographic split.
Yeah, the proof is right there in the name. Like, if you look globally, most languages use a word for Easter that derives straight from the Hebrew Pesach, or Passover. I mean, French has Pâques, Italian has Pasqua.
So they keep that direct linguistic link to the Jewish Exodus.
Yeah.
But in English, we just say Easter, which sounds, well, absolutely nothing like Pesach.
Yeah.
So where does that actually come from?
Right, so English and German went totally off script here. According to the 8th century monk Bede, Easter actually comes from an Anglo-Saxon lunar month called Eosterminath.
Wait, a lunar month?
Yeah, and that month was named after this localized Germanic springtime goddess, Eostre.
Okay, wait, I have to jump in here, because every spring my social media feed is flooded with this viral meme claiming Easter actually comes from Ishtar, the ancient Babylonian goddess of war and fertility. Are you telling me that's just entirely made up?
I am. It is total junk scholarship. Professional historians universally reject it. I mean, Ishtar was worshipped roughly 4,000 kilometers away from the British Isles, and like 2 millennia before the English language even existed.
Wow, so it's just historical clickbait.
Pretty much. People try to retrofit these pagan origins onto the holiday based on words that just sound vaguely similar, but linguistically it holds zero water.
Good to know. So the Northern European name completely split off from the holiday's Jewish roots, but the early church also wanted to physically separate the actual date of the holiday from the Jewish Passover calendar, right?
Yes, and it was a total mess, honestly. Different early Christian communities were celebrating on completely different days. So what's fascinating here is that in 325 CE, Emperor Constantine actually convened the Council of Nicaea just to unify the empire on this.
And they came up with a strict rule for it.
They did. They created this astronomical formula where Easter would universally fall on the first Sunday following the first full moon after the vernal equinox.
Okay, let's translate that for a second. The vernal equinox is just the exact moment in spring when the sun is directly above the equator, making day and night equal length.
Exactly. But tying the holiday to astronomy created calendar chaos for a massive math problem. It eventually caused a permanent schism in the church because of a flaw in the old Julian calendar.
Wait, what kind of flaw? Like a leap year issue?
Spot on. The Julian calendar miscalculated leap years by just a tiny fraction. And over centuries, that caused the calendar to drift completely out of sync with the actual solar seasons.
So they had to fix the drift.
Right. So to fix it, the Western churches eventually adopted the updated Gregorian calendar. But Eastern Orthodox churches stuck with the Julian. And that is why today they frequently celebrate Easter weeks apart.
That completely explains the math and the dates.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. How do we get from emperors arguing over leap years to a rabbit hiding candy for you?
Right. It's quite the leap.
Because we've got this top-down theology colliding with bottom-up spring traditions here. Was the original Easter Bunny just like a springtime Santa Claus?
Actually, yes, he basically was. The earliest written record of the Osterhase, the German Easter hare, is from a 1682 medical essay. And this hare was a judge.
A judge.
Yeah, it evaluated whether children were obedient and rewarded the good ones by hiding colored eggs in their caps.
Okay, a judgmental rabbit hiding eggs. I get how a rabbit symbolizes spring, but why hand out eggs?
It started purely as a practical solution, actually. During the Middle Ages, eating animal products, including eggs, was strictly forbidden during the 40 days of Lent.
Oh, right, the dietary restrictions.
Exactly. So to keep the eggs from spoiling for over a month, rural communities would just boil them.
Boiling makes total sense for preservation.
Yeah.
But why dye them? Was it, like a medieval color coding system to know which ones were boiled and safe to eat?
Precisely. They dyed them using things like onion skins just to distinguish them from the raw eggs. But over time, the church saw an opportunity to map this everyday practice onto the resurrection narrative.
How so?
Think about the physical mechanism. A bird breaking out of a hard eggshell perfectly visually mirrors Christ emerging from the stone tomb.
Oh, wow. That makes total sense. The everyday object just physically mirrors the theology.
And it became an incredibly powerful symbol. Take Ukrainian pisanki, those intricate patterned eggs. They use a wax resist technique.
Meaning they draw patterns with hot wax, and when they dip the egg in dye, the wax parts resist the color.
Right. And during the 20th century, Joseph Stalin's regime explicitly banned pisanki to suppress religion and Ukrainian identity. But people just continued making them covertly by candlelight.
So they transformed a simple folk craft into a really dangerous symbol of national resistance.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? I think it highlights how our holidays aren't just static dates on a calendar. They're living ecosystems that survive by adapting to our cultural needs.
They really are, and it does make you wonder about the future. I mean, if Easter seamlessly absorbed localized Germanic months, medieval Lenten egg preservation, and 19th century commercial chocolate, what modern secular habits that we practice today might future historians mistakenly view as deeply sacred Easter rituals 1,000 years from now?
That is a fascinating thought to leave on. That ancient recipe is clearly still being written.